you all for your patience and for your persistence. I want to say welcome. My name is Aaron Beneke. I'm the current president. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for investing your time and your experience in scouting. And welcome to the Fireside Chat. So by investing your time in the youth today, you're making your community and the world a better place to live in for everybody now and into the future. And I really believe that we're all going to reap the benefits of that for the rest of our lives. So thank you. So tonight we're going to share with you some 2025 accomplishments, our 2026 goals, the state of your council, and an update on Browers Adventure Camp, which we refer to as BAC. So in the room, we've got Arnie, our Scout Executive. We've got John, our past president and the committee chair of BAC, and Jeff, our commissioner. So before I hand this over to Arnie, I do just want to acknowledge that in 2024, Frankie, our previous Scout Executive, was offered a position that allowed him to move back to where his family is from. And Arnie was our assistant Scout Executive and was doing a great job. Well, Frankie left, Arnie stepped up to the position of acting Scout Executive. And we didn't make any promises, and Arnie didn't ask for any promises. But we conducted a search with national support in the spring of 2025. And through his performance, Arnie earned the position of Gamehaven Scout Executive. And he's been doing a great job. And we are lucky to have him as the leader of our team. So, Arnie, take it away.
Wanted to touch base on a couple of our highlights that we have done, we've had this year. And quite honestly, there has been some amazing things that have gone on in our council. And one of the things that is one of the key indicators for any council is activity and great programs. And if you can take a look, the Spring Camporee, 258 scouts participated in that. In the Winter Camporee, our Klondike that we held last January, 162 scouts participated in that. And that is Scout BSA members. And what really is exciting is the biggest fall camporee in the past 10 years, 228 scouts participated in that at Gamehaven Scout Camp. And that's a testament. All three camporees is a testament to a lot of hard work and planning and organization on a lot of people throughout an entire calendar year, getting up to those respective events. So big shout out to a lot of the people doing all the people doing the camporees and all programming. But check it out with Spring Merit Badge Rally. We had an increase of 20 scouts, but there were over 230 scouts in attendance that day, and that's saying something as well. And then the amazing Eagle Scout class of 2025. So right now we have 35 in the system that have earned their Eagle badges this year, but we have another 10, 15 that are in the process of setting up their boards of review. So this could actually be a great year for 40 to 50 Eagle Scouts throughout 3 districts, and that is also awesome. We had a record-setting killing event in attendance and profitability the Saturday after Labor Day. That was awesome to see. The Spring product sale was awesome, very excellent, exciting new. We had an exciting new programs this year, art days, and 33 scouts participating. And for something right off the bat, had never been done. That is an incredible accomplishment, and that was both Cub Scouts and Scout BSA members, so equally exciting. Excited too, we brought Tony DeBusk on board back on May 1st, and then we have a new district professional starting in January, and that is exciting. We are looking forward to him joining our team, and more information about him in the coming weeks. But one of the things that I'm really proud about is that we've expanded our service center, and we have meeting space inside of our office, and in an enhanced scout shop that is also very great. But recommitted, and this year, in the last few years, we have recommitted and committed to growing Gamehaven Scout Camp. And there has been a lot of efforts and energy put into that property to get it to where it's at now by a group of volunteers on Thursdays, also by our properties committee and a lot of other people. And I don't know if everybody on the call here knows this, but John DeStasio, who had been our camp caretaker, recently retired and is now living in Michigan near his family. And so John had done a great job helping with that, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But Gamehaven Scout Camp is looking great, and great opportunities for additional camping. So next up is our program 2026 program goals. So quite honestly, one of the things that separates good scouting from great scouting is innovative programming. And we are on the trail of doing that, implementing stuff. We've implemented stuff in 25, but in 2026, Brady and the program committee and the activities committee are hard at it, adding new activities and events for everybody to participate. So I sure hope that would be a great opportunity, to jump on board with all of the new programs out at Gamehaven Scout Camp and throughout the council. Because one of the things that we are trying to do is take and make programming not just the outdoor programming, but some of this is going to be indoor programming, and you'll be seeing and hearing more about that at our camp, at our program planning kickoff later in February. So keep your eyes open for information, but it'll be here in Rochester. And it's completely free for 2 adults from every unit to come to the event. We're going to have food, and we're going to roll out program calendars and all sorts of good stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to John to talk a little bit about the part-time community scouting helpers and the concept behind that.
Thanks, Arnie. I was asked to help out on trying to figure out how to keep units going, excited, and to help the smaller communities that maybe don't have as many volunteers as they need to keep to keep a fantastic program going. So one of the things that we've discussed, and some of the things that are being done throughout the country at different units, is they're having part-time helpers help out at these units. Not commissioners. Jeff and his commissioners have enough to do, but someone to actually be hired by the council in a part-time manner to work with units and help them get organized, help them fundraise, help them organize the cub meetings, oversee getting volunteers. It's basically a helper in that community to keep units who may be struggling to get them up and going again. We're going to try this as an experimental position coming up. We're looking at one of the smaller communities outside of Rochester to do this. I think Rushford was listed as one. Maybe.
That was a potential, and
potential.
A couple others.
A couple others as potentials. And so what we want to do is we want to look for specific people, potential scouters currently that would maybe want to do a position like this. If it works, then we're going to look at expanding it to other communities within our council. It's a way to give units just some more fuel to get going and to provide the program that we all expect and want for the youth of this community. Arnie, you want to add anything to that?
I think you pretty well hit that on the head, but yeah, just a way to help units provide better program. And if it's another resource for them, great. We're not trying to take away the unit program, but in some cases, if this can help them, absolutely. The more the merrier. Okay.
Next, I think it's me.
Correct. Jeff?
So one of the other items that we're looking at that we want to work on is improving our direct contact leader training percentage. So as all of you know, the better trained leader is going to do a better job. So we try to do our best in getting that training out there, and everybody knows that there's tons of the online training given out by Scouts BSA, and we don't want to take anything away from that. But what we do believe, and those of us that have been to in-person training realize how much more you get out of that training when you're in a room with a bunch of other scouters, and you get the opportunity to talk about what they're doing and what you're doing and the different things that they've tried that have worked and didn't work. So it's just that peer-to-peer training. So we're going to try to work to get that back on board. It seems to have slid over the years and we've lost that in-person training. We're going to work toward getting training chairs in there to help us build up the training teams and get training in person back on the table to the scouters here at this council. So that's one of the things on our agenda, and we're going to be working on that. By all means, if you like training and you want to help with it, please reach out to us, because we're going to be putting together training teams and we're going to need help to make it happen. So look for that coming in the future.
All right.
Great. Next one, I do want to touch base on the challenge course. So some of you may have used it, but we've got a new amenity at camp. If you haven't used it yet, please talk to Brady and schedule a date for 2026 to use it. Brady's also going to be working with other community groups and businesses to introduce others to camp through that challenge course, and in doing so, earn money to support scouting. This is a fantastic amenity that we've invested in, partially paid for by Gamehaven, but also paid for via grants. But we need to use this as an opportunity to expose others to the Gamehaven camp, some of scouting's values, and use it as a fundraiser, because the next item, fundraising and financial health, we need to, across the board, continue to have successful fundraising events, product sales, and friends of scouting, so that we can avoid having to raise any fees in the future. And we've got lots of different ideas of how we can do this. And we need your help to make sure that each of these events and efforts is successful. So first, if you haven't tried the challenge course yet, make sure you schedule a time with Brady to use it in the spring.
Right, thank you, Aaron. And lastly, we mentioned about John DeStasio moving back to Michigan, be closer to family, and we appreciated John's all of his efforts and things that he did out at camp. But having him not at camp leaves a void. And so one of the things that we are taking pride in is Gamehaven and how it's looking and the direction that it's gone in the last few years. Just we want to make sure that we continue to focus on that, because that is going to be a pivotal portion of what our scouting council is going to look like, and who we can attract, and school groups and those other groups that Aaron had talked about. That's exciting. But that we're in the process of figuring out what that job description is looking like, the timeline, the timing of it. But we are committed to bringing on a ranger and somebody who's going to be truthfully effective. I have had the opportunity to work with some just amazing rangers that do great jobs, and we want somebody with that caliber and that ability to interact with all sorts of different scout groups and community groups and potential businesses that come out there. But somebody who knows how to build, how to fix things, and isn't afraid to get on a mower and mow or plow some snow or all the above. And the big caveat there is we need somebody to live on the property full-time. And so we have that amazing house. It has, we don't need it today, but we just put in a nice new central air conditioning unit in there. And it's a great house with multiple bedrooms and great location to jump and get anywhere you need to in Rochester in a matter of time. So that will be an opportunity for our council to find somebody and then to onboard them and have a competitive process in this. So that is something that we're looking at, and that's the overview of the new Ranger, but we can expect some direct movement on that. So we are going to jump over to Jeff, and he is going to talk a little bit about State of the Council.
So if you remember from years past, we had the Quality Unit Awards and we had the Journey to Excellence. One of the things that we have in the council that National has is the Quality Council recognition. And there are 3 key points that they're going to be focusing on, and you'll see them up in front of you, and I'll just talk briefly about each of them. Safeguarding of the youth. So that is incident recording. And we've talked about this before in some of our meetings, that we're not looking to hide an incident. We're looking to study what happened and then fix the problems and move forward. National doesn't look at something that went wrong as a really bad thing. They look at you ignoring the bad things. So we'll be looking at filing the incidents correctly so we can fix things like that. Risk management, so we know that there are things that we can do better. So that's one of the criteria that under safeguarding that they're looking at, and we'll be working on that internally ourselves. And unit leadership, how to maintain and increase trained direct contact leaders. That goes back to the training thing we were just talking about. We want to increase our number of trained leaders, direct contact leaders. And that's one of the things that there's a criteria that we're trying to achieve to get our quality unit, if you will. Then there's the financial health. So balanced budget, surplus budgets, looking at total direct support, increase your council generated net contributions. Arnie talked about, Arnie and Aaron talked about our Friends of Scouting and our contributions in that case. That's another thing that they look at in the numbers to see how your council is doing. Your endowment, so how is our endowment fund doing? Where is it sitting? How those funds are working for us, and the net assets. Obviously, there's money involved in the properties and stuff. What are our assets, and how does that look for us as a council? Are we doing okay? Are we taking care of those assets? Then you move on to membership, and that's key. I think Aaron talked about it a few minutes ago about our scouts, and that's the most important part about this. We're looking at the new member recruiting, and we can always do better at our recruiting, and there are things that we should be trying to do, new ideas that some units are already trying that are working. We want to copy that and do that elsewhere and show other units what they can do to increase their growth. Unit growth, so the size of the units. We've seen over the years the numbers in our units dropping. We want to fix that. We want to make all the units stable, if not even building them better. I think all of us, and I know I use a cliche, preaching to the choir, all of us realize that when there are a lot of scouts in a unit, it's a lot more fun for those scouts because they got a lot more friends there. When the numbers start to dwindle, it's more difficult for them to do the programs that we're trying to do. Member retention. We have one of the higher retention numbers around nationally, but that doesn't mean that our retention numbers can't be better. We want retention to be, I'd love to hear 100% retention, and I may be dreaming, but I don't want to lose any scouts. We want to keep them all. And unit serving executives, we talked about a new district professional helping us in our districts. I would like to put commissioners in every unit and make sure that we've got people to help you and help the units, get answers out to you, help you with things that you need help with. So that's part of, keeping our membership solid. So that's one of our commitments. And all of that gives us the Quality Council recognition. And even though it's not like we're looking to gain the award, what it amounts to is if you're doing a top quality recognition program, you're hitting all of the buttons that you need to be hitting to make a top quality program. And that's what we're trying to do.
In 2023, Frankie, our past chief executive, had some mail sitting on his desk in a pile. And the council is used to getting donations and bequests from people who have passed away, etc. And so he didn't think much of it, but when he was going through his mail, through the pile, it looked a little thicker than normal. So he pulled out the envelope and he started reading, and he thought that it couldn't be what he was reading. It was a gentleman that had no affiliation with scouting, located down in the Houston area, that they wanted to give a trust to Boy Scouts or several other different organizations. Boy Scouts was at the top. Gamehaven was at the top. And he didn't think much of it because it didn't really have much detail. And I got a call. I was on vacation and I got a call, and this was a few weeks later. And he mentioned to me that this was a significant trust. It was a significant opportunity for Gamehaven Council. And would we be interested? And I thought, well, of course we'd be interested. What is the deal? And it turns out that a gentleman by the name of John Browers, located near Houston, was an entrepreneur and a farmer. And over the years, Mr. Brower farmed land and bought land around his original farm to eventually be over 1,300 acres. And that is the map up there that you see right there of the Browers land, which is now called BAC, which is a Browers activity camp. So he passed away. He gave the trust to Gamehaven, and we had two requirements for to take the land. One of them was that we needed to hold the land for 10 years. And two, most importantly, we must use the land to promote youth growth and activities. And not just in scouting, but also the community around Houston and Winona. So this wasn't just turn it into a scout camp. This was develop something that youth will be able to use and the community within the areas. So we sat back, and in July of this year, all the paperwork was finally done, all the T's and I's crossed, etc. And Gamehaven received the Browers Trust. The Browers Trust also has some money for endowment, and that will be passed into the accounts over the years. It's broken up over several years. So what we first did is we developed a committee, and it's called the Browers Activity Committee, BAC. I mean, it's the vision for Browers. And let me just mention some of the people that are on this committee, so that if you have any questions or want to contact somebody about Browers, these are the people to contact. Of course, Aaron is at large on the committee. He makes it when he can, but as president. Jeff is on the committee. Ginny Pelotti is the secretary of the committee. She takes all the notes and does all the organization for it. She does all the hard work. Paul Sadler is on the committee, and Paul Sadler will be working with our survey that's coming up. You'll be all hopefully receiving a survey in January regarding the camp. Brent Ferguson is on it. Kurt Karlstrom, Arnie is on it, and then we have two co-chairs, Tom DeMarais and myself are co-chairs. Now these are the people that are close to scouting here in Gamehaven. We are also going to be, as we get our plan together, looking for individuals down in the Houston and Winona area to be able to be on this committee. Because this camp can't just be a scout camp. It's got to be an activities camp for the people that are around the community. That was John's vision, and that was something that we accepted by taking on the trust. As we know, it's tough to just run a scout camp. But running an adventure camp, running something that kids and adults want to go to is a whole different matter. And that's what we're striving to do. So I want to just talk a little bit about this camp up here before I talk about how the committee is working. The green areas that you see where Aaron is looking at, those are all trees and hills. We have, it's mind-boggling how much land this actually is. The yellow areas all the way through are land that we lease out for farming. The camp that we're looking at, and Aaron, show them where the buildings are. There are several buildings. There's a house and several buildings. We'll show you a couple pictures there. But the land right below that, right there, is what we're looking at for camping and for getting things going. And that is a significant piece of land. It is a little over 8 acres.
How many?
13. Oh, 13, sorry, 13 acres with that land there. There's a stream that runs through the property, and it is very hilly. There are big hills up on the pretty high hills that we'll be able to utilize. We look for a lot of different activities that we'll be able to do: fishing, hiking, just all kinds of stuff. And that's what we're working on right now. So what is the committee's ultimate goal here? The committee's ultimate goal is to provide a 5-year plan by the middle of next year for the camp. Also, we're looking to provide a 1-year plan here before spring for this next year, which is kind of the startup plan to get things going. We want to have a welcoming camporee in September of 2026. That is our goal. We also have a part of the committee. So you have a part of the committee that's working on the 1-year plan, part of the committee is working on the 5-year plan, and then we have a segment of the committee that is working on conservation and income. And why that's important is because the camp right now is generating income based on 2 things: farming and hunting. We've had hunting leases in the fall. We are positioned also to be able to do some conservation work out there and generate some funds from grants, etc. One grant possibility is a butterfly farm. The state has some money and the federal government has some money for providing area for butterflies to go so that they can sustain part of the land. We're looking at the trout, part of the trout stream, doing some stuff with the water and being able to teach the scouts about conservation when it comes to water. Lots of hiking that will be done in this area. So conservation and keeping financially still working with this camp, because we don't need the whole camp. We just need some of the area, but we need to be able to access it all for some of the different programs. So long story short, our group is putting a survey together. We'd like everyone to participate in. It's not going to be a long survey. It's coming out in January. We want your ideas and your comments about this wonderful gift that we received and what you would like to see out at camp. We're going to try to do 5 or 6 big things out there. Some winter, some summer, things that we can do. We can't do everything, but we want to do what we're going to do well. And that's why we want to have thoughtful planning, the financing in the right place, and the right plan to get this taken care of. So we're going to want your ideas. And so please look for the survey in January. We'll put it out even on the website for access, because I know we don't have everyone's current emails, etc. But please, if you don't see something in January, contact the office and we will be getting you the survey. And then look for September of this next year, in 2026, plan on coming out and doing a welcome to Browers Adventure Camp beginning weekend. And we'll be hopefully, after the board is approved, be showing all the plans and showing where things are going to be, and to be a wonderful fall camp. So, and you can always get a hold of me if you have any questions or comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And this is just it's something that fell out of the sky. We can't say enough about John and his gift to us. It really sets Gamehaven in a different position than we've been in the past. And we are excited about the future of the Browers Adventure Camp. Okay, so this is a this is a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Aaron, I'm going to have you, or no, you're on it,
Yeah.
Arnie. Okay, so the little hut that's right there is potentially going to be.
Oh, it moved back.
Well, the hut was potentially going to be a bathhouse. There is a fresh spring. This land has several springs. That pond that you saw is fresh water coming in from the spring. That pond right there. The house is just to the west of the picture that you have. And if you look at the hills up there, right in that center area of those two hills, I think they're called Camelback, which is kind of interesting from Philmont.
Yes.
But in the middle of there, John and his family, when they were children, used to slide down that hill in a toboggan. And then they take a tractor up to the top and slide down. That will probably be where we do tubing and sledding and have fun winter sports too there. Right behind that green area that you see along there, that's that area that we're going to be looking at for camping, etc. Back in that green hill back there, most likely will be an amphitheater for us. In that type of area, we're looking at in the front there by where the road is to be where registration and where we'll have trading post, etc. Those hills are very large hills. They may not seem like that right here, but we're going to have miles and miles and miles of hiking. This will give you a great opportunity if you're going to go to Philmont or go to hiking throughout the country to come here and do some practice hiking. I remember when I went to Philmont, we went around to several different parks and do hiking, and we even went up north in the Boundary Waters to do some hiking. This is going to be wonderful for that because it's going to have some long distant hiking. What else do we have for pictures? Okay, that's again the north part of there will be where our scout activities will be. There's a wonderful hill off to the right-hand side. And that will be, I think we have a picture of that kind of area if you just want to run through it. I think we are going to be able to put some zip lining in because we have a big enough hill to be able to zip line down. And there is a road going up, and it's just going to be a tremendous opportunity to be able to do some really fun things in the area.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what John is talking about at the by the ponds, it's about 850 feet above sea level. At the top of those bluffs and going up those winding roads, you're adding about 700 to 800 vertical feet. So it's about 15 to 1600 feet above sea level. So I will tell you, having walked up the hill, you will definitely get a good workout, but also there's great opportunities for those zip lines and such that is more than Olmsted County hills.
Yeah. Yep. That's part of the stream that's running through that there's a lot of conservation work that can be done with the waterways throughout the camp.
And then it looks like at 6:59, Marv Buckland, is there any plan to finish the building at Gamehaven Camp?
What's his name?
Marv.
Marv?
Yeah.
If you've got a really big checkbook, we will take a wonderful donation to get that going. Right now, it's a tough sell to be able to raise money for the extra cost that would be to get that going into being able to be used as a functioning place for scouts to do meetings, etc. That doesn't mean that we're not going to do some more work to it, because there is some things that we can do it in the meantime, and we will work on that. The other thing, though, that in my personal opinion, and I've been dealing with this as the past president also, is when we can get the usage of that camp higher, there is more of an opportunity for us to be able to do some more development out there. There's a committee that's being run right now that is working on a development plan out there to do some work in 2026. As we continue to increase program usage, etc., it will become closer to being able to get that done instead of just sitting there as in my opinion, it's not an eyesore, but it is a shell. Yes. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Is the council ending the year in the black?
We're close.
Yeah, we're closing in on it. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year.
We had a breakfast on Tuesday and a breakfast this morning.
Our biggest challenge was we usually depend on a Bremer grant. I don't know if you guys knew that, but Bremer changed their ways of doing their funding this year, and we were not included in their grant distribution, which we had been in for years. But we have been told that maybe next year we will be back.
We'll see if we can apply again.
Yeah.
But it's year to year. It's not as it had been for the previous 7 years.
And that was $40,000.
Yeah, that was $40,000. That has been
45.
tough to make up, but we're really pretty close to being in the black. So.
I'm curious about the BAC and being financially able to sustain itself. Is some of the trust money going to, I mean, there's taxes, there's maintenance, all that gonna keep separate so we don't have to worry about black and red?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. So the BAC will have some funding from the endowment and the ongoing revenue from the acreage that we lease out for farming and from the hunting. But it's not going to be an easy task for us to create something that is going to be immediately successful and bring in all the people that we want. So we're going to try to do it slowly. That, like we talked about, maybe having 5 or 6 different main things that we're going to do, but we just start with 1 or 2 and get them going. But yes, Bremer does have, or I mean, BAC does have some of its own funding. We're not going to be taking anything from Gamehaven to financially take care of Browers. But we will be looking for the community to help out down there with some of the activities and some of the things that we do, and maybe some sponsorship. So for example, we want to put a zip line in. We'll look for some businesses who want to donate to help with putting a zip line in and putting their name on the zip line, etc. So it can't just be a scout camp, and it can't just be a community camp. We need kind of everybody to be together and make it an activities camp, if that makes sense. So,
and we're also trying to be very mindful that we don't have duplicated offerings between the two camps.
That's right. The first question was, can we at Gamehaven Scout Camp set up an orienteering course? And the answer to that is yes. We just have to work through the properties committees to make sure that it's something that they would want, but there's nothing to say that we can't do that.
A number of orienteering courses have been run out at Gamehaven. So if the individual is looking at building their own, that's one question. If that individual is looking to run like a unit through an orienteering course, there's a number of them that have been put together over the years for like JLT and NYLT that they certainly, I'm sure, would love to have somebody take their orienteering course and run it.
The second question that they have, can scouts or activities use those big inflatable balls where people jump inside and they bounce off of one another? They bounce off of one another doing wrestling or just general games. And unfortunately, the answer to that is no in the Guide to Safe Scouting, because it puts potential scouts in danger, in harm's way. Specifically, jumping with bungee cord devices, is one thing. But here, bubble ball, knocker ball, they call it zorbing, battle balls. That because of the nature of that, the National Boy Scouts of America has said that is not a great opportunity. And something safe for kids. So unfortunately, we can't have those zorbing balls and battle balls for different activities on the property. Okay, a question here populated. What are the near future plans for having groups at camp while we don't have a caretaker? Will Brady be the caretaker going forward? So what's been happening, quite honestly, it's been shared leadership. Brady has been checking people into camp, and then on Sundays, I usually go out and lock up and close the gates and make sure that the buildings are closed, that the heat's off. Everything's square, and then throughout the week we have people coming and going, checking on the property.
Okay, we're at 7:30, which is officially 15 minutes over, but I think it was worth it. I hope you do too.
Thank you for letting us take a good chunk of your evening and your roundtable and do our fireside chat.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. And if anybody has any other comments or questions or suggestions, please send them to us. We would love to hear from you and be here to support you and everything that you're doing for scouting.
And remember, a survey is going to be coming to you in January sometime, so look for it.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.